right, Joe, I sent you the presenter rights.
Okay, excellent. So I'm going to have to open it in an email, in other words?
No, you should be able to go up to the little screen icon.
Okay.
And you click on that and select start sharing my screen. If you've got multiple monitors, you'll need to tell it which monitor to share.
It's telling me to download it. I don't know why. Let's see. All right, so click your screen. Okay, it's telling me to download it. Let me download it.
Okay.
Okay, any luck?
Not yet.
I see. Oh no, I see waiting to view.
All right, bear with me. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, why it's not sharing. It's telling me to download it, share. It's not allowing me. GoToMeeting Pro screen sharing would like to share content of your screen with GoToMeeting.com. Choose which screen you'd like to share. Entire screen, share.
There we go.
You got it?
Now we got it.
Good. Okay, so you guys, you see, what you're seeing is basically a Zeus script, but we call this new pricing engine or pricing matrix our new PM. And it's a lot easier for you guys. So I also gave a handout to Tom of screen slides. I emailed it over to him. If Tom, if you want to share that with the group, it's just some slides just to get the feel of it if they just want to review it without actually having to go on and do a mock call.
Okay.
So I sent that via email. So everybody's on call at this point. I'd rather just get this going. It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. There's a couple of different nuances that are going to make everybody's life easier, but the most important thing is there's certain pieces that we want everybody to read, obviously the script as it's written, best they can, and answer the questions the best they can. And it's always vital to use the notes to the best of our ability, as we all know. So, very simple, the DID. We all know how the DID works already, so I don't really have to belabor that point. Okay, you use a DID, and in this one we'll just use chat for ease of moving forward. It's a great day at US Coachways. Nothing changed here. Everything's the same. New or existing quote. We'll say it's a new quote. Phone number. Okay. And we're going to start the call. All right. This is where you need to really zero in. This is where you're going to see some changes. Obviously, the next question is the same. What type of vacation or event can I help you with today? And we'll just say it's a general day trip. Are you definitely chartering a vehicle for this trip? There's a psychological reason why we put that in. We want to know right off the bat if this person is just looking to shop plane fare, train fare, the expense of using their own automobile, or actually taking a charter. So we want to know basically what's their reason for calling us today. Are they definitely chartering a vehicle for the trip? And that's what we want to find out. If they say no, if we put no here, we have to qualify that with a note, an internal note. Customer called in is comparing automobile prices, train, airfare. You guys follow what I mean by that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, easy stuff. So let's just say for our purposes they say yes. The next thing you'll see here is the trip type, okay? Trip type comes up relatively quickly. So right after what kind of event or occasion, are you definitely chartering a vehicle? And in red, the trip type. And this is how the trip is priced, which we already know. In Zeus, it's a different screen. It's the next screen after that, the actual trip type. Is everybody familiar with what I'm referring to?
Yes.
Good. Okay. So let's just say this is a general day trip. Now, one thing that you want to get in the habit of is, let's just say they're doing a family reunion, okay, or whatever it is. You're going to ask them, is this an overnight? Are you looking to do this overnight? You might want to ask that first because you're not going to know until you come to the following screen here. Get the pickup information and the drop-off information. Okay, you wouldn't know if it's overnight until you go through this. So picking this field, you might want to ask, is this an overnight trip? You guys follow me on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good, good. You see where I'm going. Okay, so let's just assume it's an overnight trip. You obviously see how many people you can accommodate. Nothing changed there. So on this screen, the two things that you need to make sure of are right here. I just highlighted them. That's very, very important. We really want to know, and we really want to understand why the customer is calling us. And a lot of the times, and you guys can attest to this, is they're just calling just to shop around. They're not too sure what they're going to do. So put no if it's no, and then in the internal notes field, just qualify, why they're calling in. Not really too sure if they're chartering a vehicle, just shopping, just trying to understand rates for their trip. That's all. Everybody's on the same page. Okay. Next, get pickup information, and this is going to be a little bit tricky at first when you start doing this. Obviously, this script reads left to right in the beginning, and then it kind of goes in a format where it's top to bottom. So you want to do it like this. When you get the pickup information, you want to read just like you see here. May I have the date and the time of your pickup? Okay, and there's the field for it. And let's just say it's Friday, October 23rd. And the time of the pickup. We want to put the time. Let's say it's 8 a.m. Okay? And may I please have the zip code of the pickup? Let's just say it's here in Staten Island. Okay, now watch this. It populates right off the bat. Now, let's just say they don't have the zip code. Something that's different, and it's actually better functionality for everybody. Let's just say they want to be picked up in Staten Island. The zip code populates. Everybody catch that?
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
These are some notes that you need to take down. In the 4 boroughs of New York, so it's Manhattan, Staten Island, the Bronx, and Brooklyn, you have to drill down to a zip code, and I'll tell you why. Although these areas are relatively small mileage-wise, it can take you 1 hour to go from one point of Staten Island to the other. So you really need to drill down on only the 4 boroughs. In Queens, New York, they don't use Queens, New York. They actually use the town, which makes life easier for everybody. Okay? So in the 4 boroughs of New York, this is very important. If 10301 pops up, that could very well be an hour away with traffic and the amount of density that's in the city area. It could be very well be an hour away. So if you put 10301 and the zip code's really 10309, that's completely on the other side of the island. So the 4 boroughs, not the 5, just the 4 I mentioned, Staten Island, Brooklyn, the Bronx, and Manhattan, you need to get a specific zip code because it can change the pricing of the trip drastically. Does everybody follow me on that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we're picking up, another example, if we're picking up in Harlem, uptown Manhattan, and the real pickup is downtown Manhattan, and the system generates the Harlem zip code, for them to get from Harlem down to the downtown Manhattan location could take an hour and a half. So those 4 boroughs are very important. I'm going to show you another little, not glitch, but another little nuance, if you will, about New Jersey and any zip code that starts with a 0. So I think Rhode Island, New Jersey, Boston, Massachusetts itself, they start with 0s in their zip code. Watch what happens. So I'm going to use Red Bank, New Jersey as an example. 4. You see it's only 4? You have to put the 0 in front. Everybody catch that?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so any part, okay, see it says zip code not found. That means that you have to put a 0 in front. So let's just say I have another area of New Jersey. You pretty much, it's very specific to New Jersey, I feel like. But there definitely are other areas of the country where this is specific to as well. Okay, so it's not actually picking up the zip code at all on this one. So sometimes it has some strange functionality.
Hey, Joe, a question for you.
Yes.
If you're entering a zip code that starts with a 0, when you click out of the field and it auto-populates, will it retain the 0? Or will you have to go back in and, okay.
It absolutely will. It absolutely will.
Okay.
So see, I put Jersey City, New Jersey, and the 0 didn't populate. So there you go. But let's do the opposite. Let's do what you're saying, Tom, just so I can show you. The
Okay.
0 will stay. The 0 will stay. When you manually enter it, the 0 will stay. See? It stays.
Okay.
It's only when you use the city, that's the only time. So you guys know about New York already, the 4 boroughs of New York. You know about Jersey, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, or any state that has a 0 in the front. The first digit is a 0 in the zip code. You have to manually put it in if you're putting the city in first. If you're using the zip code, it stays. Everybody clear?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Good. All right, now, a new functionality that's a little bit different is if it's an overnight trip. Let's just say, and this is so important that you see this, let's just say on Zeus, we would get the pickup information and then the final destination. That was easy for you guys. You just got the pickup on the front end and the last destination that we're going to on the back end. A lot of the times, those particular trips, they might have started in Jersey City. They might have had a drop, they might have stopped over for a day in Baltimore, Maryland, and stayed there for a full day, then went to Washington, D.C. for a day, and then they wound up ending their trip, or the final destination was Virginia. So you guys would start with Jersey City and put Virginia. Okay? This particular new PM pricing matrix makes you actually fill in everything, and I'll show you what I mean. I hit the plus, and then I say I'm getting picked up at Jersey City, I'm getting dropped off, let's call it Baltimore, Maryland, okay? All right, and we're doing that on the 23rd as well. See, the zip code pops in, and look what the system did. It gave me a roundabout time frame. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm being picked up in Baltimore. I'm staying overnight. I'm being picked back up in Baltimore, Maryland. Okay, copy, paste. You could actually just tab actually.
Hey, Joe. The
Yeah.
box to the right, where it's got the little X's there. What are those boxes for?
These boxes are for notes.
Those are for the notes.
Specific.
Okay.
Well, hold on. Let me clarify that. These boxes are specific to the notes about the address. So let's just say you're going to Baltimore, Maryland, and you're going to the Camden Yards baseball field, Camden Yards Stadium. Okay? So what you would want to do is you'd want to put the address 1 Camden Yard Way, hypothetically, right? And then you'd want to qualify that in the note. So any note specific to the address, so it could be a landmark, intersection between A Street and B Street. You follow me, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Make sense, everyone? Okay, good. So we're being picked back up, let's just say, at Camden Yards the next morning on the 24th. We're being picked up at AM. You always have to make sure to put those zeros by the minutes as well, okay? And then I'm going to Washington, D.C., okay? Let's look. This should be District of Columbia. There you go.
So, Joe, when we started this call, we stuck with it as being as an overnight in the beginning, right, when we started this?
Yeah, we went back to overnight, correct.
Got it,
Family
okay.
reunion, overnight. Okay? Now look, 23rd, 24th, I'm being picked up on the 24th, right? I'm going to, hold on, let's see, Jersey City, dropping off, Baltimore, picking up on the 24th, going to D.C. on the 24th, okay? Let's just say my final destination's Virginia, okay? So I'm actually staying here for the full day, and then I'm picking back up at the location in Washington, right? This is very important that you understand this. This is like crucial. And you might have a couple of concerns when you first start doing it. I'll go over all that stuff with you guys, though. And where's my District of Columbia? There we go. And now it's the 25th. There you go. Sometimes if it doesn't populate, you can click right there, that little circle there, and it'll populate. Now, look at this. My final destination is, we'll call it Sterling, Virginia, okay? That's my last destination before back home. Now, in Zeus, you guys would do point A to point B, and in between never populated. You follow me on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now when you quote, you're going to put together the quote tremendously. You're going to put it together with everything that they want to do. So always remember, destination, you can actually put a note to yourself to say, get the final destination. Not just the destination, get the final destination, because there has been some confusion. People are starting with Jersey City, and then they're putting Baltimore here. And then they're building out everything that you see me do in the front end, they're building it out here, which I can kind of understand, because you're getting picked up in Jersey initially, and then you're getting dropped off in Baltimore. It's a destination. But it doesn't work that way for some strange reason. And you guys, I mean, do you see what I mean by that? Would you guys think that at first? You would say, well, I'm getting picked up at my starting point in Jersey City, and then you would go right here and start putting Baltimore and building out here, which would make sense, right? It's logical. Everybody with me on that?
Yes.
Or was everyone? I lost everyone?
Hello?
No, we said yes, Joe.
Everybody following?
I said Joe, yeah.
Okay, so remember, you're building out the entire itinerary in the front end, and then when it says get destination, you want to remind yourself that this is the final destination. So if it's an overnight trip and you say to the customer, you're going from Jersey City and you're going to a couple of different spots, what's your final place that you're going to? Where's the final drop-off, okay, before your return trip? And in this case, it's Sterling, okay? So there's your drop-off. Now, look, your return is already built out for you. It's saying Sterling to Staten Island. But we have to ask, are we dropping anybody off in Baltimore or Washington? And then if you had to, you would build it out by you adding the pluses. So you would backtrack. You'd hit here and you'd put Washington. Then you'd click here and then you'd put Baltimore. And then back to Jersey City and then to Staten Island ultimately. Excuse me. I apologize. I confused you. We started with Staten Island, but we changed it to Jersey City. So let's go back. It's actually Jersey City as the final drop-off. That's good. See what I just showed you guys? It's very important that you see that. If you start with something in the front end up here, it doesn't automatically change once you change it. So we started with Staten Island, and you just saw the system didn't change it when I changed it to Jersey City. It assumed that Staten Island was still a drop-off point. So it has to. It didn't have to be cognizant of that. Everybody understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm boring you guys? All right. What do I need to put here?
A 0.
What did pop? 0. There you go. All right. Now, we're starting our trip to come back. So we're being picked up at Washington, going to Sterling, Virginia, and we have to change this here on the 25th. Dropping off on the 25th. Okay. Now our return trip is going to be on the 26th. All right, and they're going to pick us up. So dropping off Sterling, they're going to pick us up in Sterling, and we'll say, I don't know, 8 a.m. Okay, Washington, D.C., 10:45. The next day, we have to put a time here, and we're being picked up at 8 a.m., and that populates. It's 8 a.m. from Washington to Sterling is 8:40, so it's 40 minutes. All right. Obviously, that's without traffic. All right. So we're being picked back up in Sterling at 8 a.m., and it's saying we'll be back at Jersey City by 1 p.m. Obviously, again, without traffic. But look at how cool this is, guys. It shows you your points. Gives you everything, and it gives you all your one-way miles right here. Right there for you to see.
That's great.
And you actually have the Google map right there for you. It shows you, a visual of the trip. It gives you your one-way miles. Easy stuff, right? Now, it started with the hardest scenario to just hopefully see if you guys could grasp it. So remember, the second piece, get the final destination. So if it's Jersey City to Sterling, you'd put Jersey City first and Sterling, and that would be it. But since they're stopping along the way, we had to fill in these pieces in here. All righty? Now, we're going to hit continue. Now, this is what you're going to see next is going to be very new as well. Check this out. There's your hub, New York City. Tells you your one-way miles. It tells you the driving time. But look right here. Will you require local usage of this bus up to 12 hours at your destination? And you're going to say yes. So it knows every day that you're using local services, and it automatically builds the VIAs on our side. I'm not too sure how familiar you are with VIAs, but it builds it out for us. Okay? So this question is perfect. Make sure you ask it. And it's not going to allow you not to ask it, I don't believe. You have to go back to it. And then, as you would, you'd pick your vehicles. But look, guys, there's numerous options. There's 4 rather than 2. And you could change the number of vehicles. So let's just say it was 100 people and they needed 55 passengers, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. So let's just say in this example, we went with a 49 passenger and a 55 passenger, and we're going to need 2 of each. And we said it was only 50, but let's assume it was 100. So look at this. It tells you, okay, that will accommodate 98 people, and this will accommodate 110. So you see that?
Yeah.
Better functionality, no, than Zeus? You guys all agree?
Yes, that's awesome.
Way better.
Yes, that's awesome.
Good. So we gave 2 scenarios, a 49 and a 55. We continue forward. And this is where your add-ons and stuff would be now. In the screen that you're looking at with me, I'm on a laptop. All of these add-ons, these services and add-ons that I'm going to highlight would be on the right-hand side next to this screen here. We're right here listed, all here. You see where my mouse is going? All here. Okay, on this computer, it's not showing that way. You guys have desktops, correct?
Yeah.
So you're going to look for it all on the right-hand side. All your services and your add-ons, okay? And we're going to move forward. Email. You phonetically ask for the email. It's abc123@yahoo.com, and you don't copy and paste this because it won't work. It wants you to physically put it in. What was that? I just want to confirm. It was abc123. It's A as in Apple, B as in boy, C as in Charles, numerical 123@yahoo.com. And you have to physically verify it, okay?
Okay.
Because it'll stop and bring you back. We listen to the calls, right? So a lot of the times we hear the calls and we hear that the email is being put in wrong. So that's why we put that functionality. Assuming you don't have the last name, you want to ask it here. How many times over the course of the year do you charter a vehicle? We do it once a year. It automatically clicks that it's not a VIP. You don't have to go back in and click it. If they say 3, it'll change to yes. Different. That's a little different, that functionality. Before, you'd have to actually go in and put yes or no. Now, when you read, everything is right there for you. The 49. Look at how it reads. The 49 passenger coach bus, rather than it used to say coach bus 49. The 49 passenger coach bus, which features include, and it gives you the features, will be $48.80. The price for the 55 passenger, which includes the same amenities, will be. So it basically makes it a lot easier for you to read. All right?
Great.
And then this breaks down to approximately $97 per person and $99 per person. Okay, now watch this. I'm going to go back. See these tabs on top? On Zeus, you get bogged down. You'd have to press the back button. But let's just say I want to go back to the itinerary screen. I could toggle back through tab. And let's just say I wanted to say, you know what, I want 150 people. Everything's still populated. and you want to make sure you hit continue back. Everything stays populated. Oops. Okay, I want to do 3 vehicles, right? Because I'm doing 150 people now. Continue. Okay, let's forward through. Now, the only screen that it didn't save was this screen, so I'd have to put back in the email. All righty. I charted 3 times. Now watch this. The 49 passenger coach bus, you read the amenities, $48.80 per bus for a total. It gives you the total. All right? Everybody catch that?
Yep.
Yeah, it's there for you. And it also is going to give you 3 times 49. So basically per person, per vehicle. That's still going to break down per person, per vehicle. Easy enough? So it's $97 for 150 people, right? So if you do the math just to check it, it's there for you. You know, before you couldn't really read that because it was wrong if it was multiple buses. Am I correct? You guys know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's just say $97 times 150 comes out to $14.50. So the total of their whole entire group per person is $97 a person. That encompasses the whole 150 people. And if they wanted it per bus, you'd have to actually divide that by 3. I don't want to confuse you, but in the past, you would never have the correct breakdown. It would only give you for 1 bus. You would have to manually multiply it for the 2 buses.
Mm-hmm.
This is giving you the total $14.80. All right? And it's $97 per person. Now, driver room is obviously needed. You read the actual, breaks down to $97 per person, $99 per person. You see here that the drop and pick is here because it's an overnight. As you guys know, it was the same on Zeus. You're not reading that. You're reading the overnight price on the specific example. And the price includes minimal gratuity, any toll, all fuel charges. You want to tell them that they have to incur the cost of the driver's room. You guys know about that already. And then what you want to do is read it as it is. Read it as it is. We want to say, please keep in mind, this price quote is based upon availability at the time of the call. Our reservations are first come, first serve. I'm showing limited availability of these vehicles at this time. Now, you guys don't really set up the close. You don't ask for the order. Am I correct in saying that?
Correct.
Correct.
So this is a little bit different, okay? I'm not suggesting that you do this. Say, you could tweak this one piece of verbiage right here and say, okay, great, I will now email you your quote. You could skip this piece. This is for us. What we're trying to do is funnel down why. So what we're doing here is we want to walk them through the reservation system and see what they say, okay? What you guys do is you're going to say, I'm showing limited availability at this time. I will now email you your quote. You will receive it within minutes. Due to limited availability, I strongly recommend that you place this reservation today. Please click the link in your email. It says book online. Follow the 4 steps to complete this process in minutes. How are you currently closing this? Whose names have you been given? Keith Monty?
Ralph Mateo.
Good. Continue to give Ralph Mateo's name. Continue to give Ralph Mateo's name.
Hey, Joe, another question.
Yes.
On the question, I would like to walk you through our online reservation system. It looks like that is a required field, so should we be selecting no?
Yes, just select no for now, and then it's going to say, and then say no. Always say no, and that's a great question, Tom. I was just getting to that. Always say no. Is this price within your budget? Yes. Okay, if they say no, do you have a budget? Yes. What is your budget? And you put in how much it is. Okay?
Okay.
So you see how that goes?
Yep.
$1,000 hypothetically. But let's be more realistic. Let's just say it's $6,000. Okay? Now, this populates here. What's holding you back? Just say they need to meet with the group. and then say a week. So there's a couple of things you're going to have to manually navigate through because you're not trying to close the sale. I would love if you guys just followed it and tried to close it. It makes everybody's life easier. But you're going to have to, the most important piece is, let's go back real quick, and let's just say yes if they want to walk through the reservation system. If you say that, yes, you could go back to, I'll now email you the quote. But if you say no, then you have the budget questions come up. And do you guys ask for the budget now? Do you guys ask for budget now?
Yes.
Okay. So then, yeah, you want to do that. You want to get their budget, and then manually go through this. Is the price within your budget? No. Do you have a budget? Yes. What's your budget? $6,000. Okay. Just say that they're shopping. Actually, don't say they're shopping because it populates another script. Just say you have to meet with the group in 1 week, and then it'll say, hey, Joe, our job is to make everything smooth as possible. If you have any questions, feel free to contact Ralph at any time. We're your friend in the business. Again, the representative's name is Ralph. His office line is ABC122, whatever it is, and email us in communication with him. Okay, so everybody see that? You got to play with it a little bit also to get to these little budget questions. We want to drill down to know exactly what the budget is.
Question.
This is your internal notes. See right here, it says internal notes. Budget is 6,000. Incoming call, whatever note you put. Meeting with decision maker in a week. Whatever note you would typically put. All right?
I have a quick question. I did notice that the question if the driver needed a room wasn't on there, and then we were entering the interest level for the notes. Are we still doing that?
Okay, so the driver needs a room on this particular situation, so it automatically defaulted to driver needs a room because it's an overnight trip. So the system.
Okay, so it automatically does it.
Yeah, so it's in red. It's the driver needs a room. No question.
Joe?
Yeah.
It's Sal. Can I just jump in and say one quick thing too?
Sure, absolutely, Sal.
But there's just some sort there's a little bit of confusion from time to time. Let's just say a customer is requesting a one-way transfer from Miami, Florida to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and it's 800 miles one way, hypothetically speaking. On trips like that, in that type of scenario, one-way transfers, long distance, obviously the bus is going to be traveling for more than 14, 15, 16 hours, whatever the case may be. On one-way transfers, the client is not responsible to provide any hotel rooms for any of the trips. It's all the responsibility of the vendor. On overnight trips is when it's the responsibility of the client. On big one-way transfers that go over hours, no room is required on the client's end. It's solely internal, where the vendor and on U.S. coaches will handle lodging for the driver. I just wanted to say that because sometimes there's a confusion on that. That's why. When they see like the travel time being excessive, over 14, 15 hours, they automatically think, got to get a room for the driver. But on one-ways, that's not the case.
And here's another one, too. Another issue is a lot of the times with the rooms, if there's going to be a relay driver or a switch driver, because the trip is, let's just say the 20-hour trip, you're going to need a relay or a switch driver, right? We're only concerned with the driver at the final destination. So if there's two buses and there's two drivers that are going to be on with the group at the final destination, they're going to need, for two buses, two drivers, they're going to need two rooms. If it's one bus, one driver, one room. Now, the switch driver or the relay driver is the cost of the vendor, as Sal indicated as well. We're never concerned with having to get two rooms for a switch. I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that. There seems to be confusion here in our office on that as well.
But if we're doing a one-way transfer, this is Cindy, the threshold, does this trip require a second driver, or if it's going to require, a room, what's the threshold?
Can I jump in there, Joe?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Just repeat that question for me again.
The threshold. So how do we, if someone is going to be in, like, say, 800 miles, or, do we know, is there a threshold on how to handle that?
On relay drivers and one-way trips, there is no threshold. There's no room whatsoever. If I'm a customer and I want to go from El Paso, Texas to Portland, Maine, one way, and I don't want to stop throughout the night, I want to go straight through, you just quote the customer as is. The relay drivers and the rooms for the drivers are all the responsibility internal from the vendor side and U.S. Coachways. So if you want to go one way from Texas, from El Paso, Texas to Portland, Maine, it's the responsibility and the duty of the vendor to set up relay drivers and provide rooms for those relay drivers throughout the course of that trip. It's got no bearing, it's got nothing to do with the customer. Does that answer your question?
Yep.
Good. Cool. Thank you.
Good. Good. Very good.
Right, with the direction, change the point. Correct.
Okay. So here's your notes internally. If you hit continue, here's your notes to all and your notes to the client. Okay. Now, are you guys familiar with short notice bookings, like an ASAP booking? Are you familiar with the note that we're putting in ASAP bookings? I'm not sure if you ever had that training on ASAPs.
No, in Zeus, ASAP quotes are just sent directly to Ralph.
So do you quote them or you don't even quote them?
We don't quote them.
Got it. Okay. So then I wouldn't even go over this. So this is the notes to all. Anything notes to all goes to everybody. It goes to us, the equipment provider, which we consider our vendor, and it goes to the customer. And then notes to the client is going to be specific to the note to the client. Basically, driver needs a room that will accommodate charter bus parking for the driver, stuff like that. And then here's how you disposition. Based on our conversation, you're going to rate what you think their interest is. Let's just say their interest on this was a 7. Obviously, it's automatically set for overnight trip. And how you disposition it is you're going to put quote provided in the agent's name, which is Ralph. So all you have to do is put quote provided. And that's it. And then you hit complete quote and you complete the quote. So you want to get good at, now, let's say I want to toggle back. You're saying goodbye to the customer in the screen prior. My job is to make sure everything goes as possible, blah, blah, blah. I look forward to working with you. Are there any other questions you may have? No? Okay, great. Have a good day. The client hangs up. You're putting in your internal notes here. Okay? Then you hit continue. And then it's dispositioning. So you have to be careful that you don't go forward and then send the quote without putting your internal notes. Does that make sense? You could say goodbye to the customer and not send the quote right away. So make sure you say goodbye, put your notes in the screen prior in step 5, and then you disposition it. And on this, we'll put test for now. And then you complete the quote. And that's it.
Okay, Joe,
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, going back to the ASAP quotes.
Yes.
Are you still wanting the agents to not quote that? And
it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I would say let's not quote the ASAP South. Correct? Right now, it's too much training that it needs to go on in regards to that. Just send those ASAP calls directly over.
What I think maybe we can do is I just put like a category on ASAPs, maybe something under 72 hours or 42 hours, and maybe we can flag it a certain way where we can see it needs immediate attention, and we could have it sent to Ralph as an urgent type thing, like how we get the web reports and that come in through Mitel or maybe through Ansonet. Maybe Ansonet can categorize it as an urgent lead under the category of ASAP, and it needs to be attended to immediately. Is that something that we could do? Because I want to quote everything. And ASAP is something that is very important to us too, and to the customer. Because certain customers are in a bind, in a jam where they need service, and sometimes we're able to help them and provide it for them. So, is there a way on your end that we can categorize it, flag it, and send it to Ralph as an urgent quote?
Through Zeus, you're talking about?
Through through Zeus, through the new PM, or through Zeus.
Well, do PM because they're going to be using the new PM. So let me
Then
think.
do the PM then. However we're going to send it.
Yeah. So I'm thinking maybe a simple email with the customer's name and information might for now. But you know what we'll do, Sal, me and you, let's work on a process for Tom, and we'll send it out to Tom, and then we'll train on it. For now, let's keep it as is. But Sal's 100% right, Tom. I mean, this is vital to our success and our profit margins. So I kind of think that if we can get you guys to quote it, and if it's under 72 hours, it comes to us like as an urgent, as an ASAP, an urgent ASAP, and we'll figure out a process on that. We'll figure out a process on that.
Okay.
But not to quote it. And right now, what you're doing is you're on ASAPs. Are you manually sending an email to Ralph urgent lead, or how are you getting that over to Ralph right now?
It's dependent on the disposition at the end of the call. So when the agents select that it is an ASAP lead, then that email goes directly to Ralph.
Okay.
And we do not provide any price quote to the caller.
You just take their basic information and say an agent's going to get right back to you.
Yeah, we go through the whole quote process, but don't quote.
You don't send it. Okay. Understood.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Here's another question. I'm sorry if I didn't catch it earlier, but I believe Heidi did mention it. It's in regards to about the interest level, right? We were supposed to document it about the notes about the trip, and we would list it as an interest of, 1 through 10. So I knew she asked that, and I don't know, Heidi, if that was caught or not, but are we still listing the interest level?
Well, at the end of the script, you saw right before the disposition, it says, how interested is this customer in booking with you? And there's a 1 to 10.
Got it.
Right. You guys used to have to put it in internal notes, interest equals, and you would put 1 to 10, right?
Right.
Right.
Now this actually has a drop down. I don't know if you caught it. Let me go back.
Oh, I didn't catch it.
Yep. Yeah, I did.
Also, I'm gonna jump off now, but I might have missed this earlier too. It's vital and very, very important information that if you can try somehow, some way to try to find out what the customer's budget is on the charter. I know that you guys discussed it earlier. Some people say they don't have a budget, or they do, or they have to go back to somebody. But if there's some sort of rebuttal that we can send where we can really try our best to get that information from the customer, extract it from them, it's really would be very, very helpful.
Yes, and Tom, this could be a work in progress where we could do a lot more training and helping you guys get up to speed to be on the same mindset. And I know it's it's a lot, but just Sal's 100% right. If we can get an exact budget, and a lot of the times they ask, what do you want my budget for? Well, because we want to know how we could accommodate you the best. We want to try and see if we could work with you to fit into your budget, at least have one attempt to try and get it from them. All right? So now let's just say I gave you the hardest scenario. Everything else pales in comparison. So if it's a general day trip, we're gonna quote it as the trip type is a general day trip. It's going from Staten Island, New York, and we're gonna go to, let's say, Brooklyn, New York. 11214. Okay, we'll make this 09. All right. Simple. See, I'm going from Staten Island, getting dropped off. Going my I put Staten Island. My destination's Brooklyn. See that? It came under this. That's my final destination. Staten Island to Brooklyn, and then it turns around and it goes the opposite. Okay, Brooklyn to Staten Island. Whoops. Yeah, there we go. And we're coming back the same day. And we're coming back at, let's say, 4. And look, it populates everything for you, if you could see. And one way, trip one, see that? So that's simple. So Staten Island, final destination is Brooklyn, and it's going back from Brooklyn to Staten Island. Easy. Hit continue. And I'll go back to that budget and the interest question. We're doing a 49 passenger. You always quote two vehicles and a 55 passenger. Hit continue. Say no add-ons. Email abc123@gmail.com. Okay. We read everything to them. Okay. See, it's obviously it doesn't require a second driver or relay. It says no. We read the script. Over here we say no, because we want to get to is this price within your budget? Say no. If it says yes, then just basically you go down and you say that you're going to email them the quote. Okay. If they say no, do you have a budget? Yes. What is your budget? And you just put the budget in there. So does everybody see how you work through that? It all populates based on what you fill in. All right. So if I said no, it's within my budget. Yes. And then you'd say, okay. So now you know it's within budget. My job is to make sure I'm now going to email you the quote and everything else. Okay. You would say I need to be a decision maker. Put a week, and just read to them. Email you the quote. When you're ready, go online and do it. Now, let's go forward. You asked about the interest level. Remember about the interest level before? Here it is. Based on the conversation with the client, what's the interest level?
Got it.
That was your question earlier. Here it is. It's on the last step 6. Did I help you with your question?
Yep, got it.
Good. I mean, really, it's fooling around, but it's the best way you're going to get it. So, are there any questions? I mean, I went over pretty much all the hard stuff. The zip code put in the 0, how to structure the trip on the overnight. Everything goes in the pickup information. If there's multiple pickup and drop-offs, on an overnight trip, and then the final destination, I went over that. Are there any other? I mean, everything else is pretty much cut and dry the way you know it. We hit the new question in there. Are you definitely looking to charter a vehicle? The other new question in there is, will you be needing local services up to 12 hours a day? So really, those are the major pieces and the major differences. What questions, beside the questions do you have? Is there anything else that you don't understand, you want me to go over?
Yeah, Joe, I've got a few questions.
Sure.
Can you go ahead and click the drop down for call disposition again?
Sure.
Okay. So for the call center, are we going to be sending these quotes still to Ralph?
So help me to understand. Right now, all of your quotes don't go to the customer; they go to Ralph. You're sending the quotes out to the customer.
You see, everything we do routes to Athena, and then the email is sent from Athena out to the client if it is something we've quoted.
Okay.
If it's an ASAP lead or if it's over X number of people,
okay,
that would also go to Ralph.
Right. So what you would want to do in this is you wouldn't want to send the quote. What you'd want to do is you'd want to say, I see what you're saying. How are you going to disposition this?
Right.
So let's say call disposition. You're going to say, let's see. You could say, I don't know. That's a great question. So if you say quote provided, you're sending the quote.
Right.
So let's see here. Okay, automatic. Okay, right here. No. Automatically send quote for general day trip. You'd have to say no. And you're quoting it in Ralph's name anyway, so it generates a web report. The only way not to send it would say no here, as it stands. So I'd have to figure out. I'd have to get some new functionality in here for the quote not to be provided, and get, like we said earlier, put ASAP in here, and it won't go out, or multiple, multiple passenger, multi-passenger move, whatever the disposition is. So at this juncture, the only way for you not to send it out is to say no, and if you say no, and you disposition it as quote provided in Ralph's name, Ralph will get a web report. But the quote wasn't sent. And just so you know, this is Athena, by the way. This is Athena.
Okay.
Okay. So I'd have to try and figure out some functionality on that. So As it stands, we'll have to say no, and then we'd have to email it, and still disposition it as the quote provided, and then let Ralph know, a subsequent email. Ralph, ASAP, we didn't send the quote, please review. Make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I see room for error there by having the agent needing to follow up with Ralph after sending it. So, I mean, if there's a way to build that into the disposition so
Yes.
that it notifies Ralph that quote was not sent to the customer.
Right. I'm going to have to try and that's that. Now we're talking about, making adjustments to this, and that might not be so quick. So yes, I have to figure that out.
Okay. And another question: will each of the agents need to have a login and password?
Each of the agents will need some type of a login and password. That's correct. Into the
Okay.
Okay. So let's see. The agents login and password. So right now you don't have any of that, correct, for Athena?
Correct.
Okay. And disposition, ASAP, and large moves. So large moves you don't quote either. So large moves and ASAPs do not get quoted right now. A quote gets generated, a web report gets generated with the details, but no quote is ever provided. Am I correct?
You're correct.
Okay. And then an agent login and password, which I know that they're going to be working on. You're probably just going to get call center 1, call center 2, and how you would log in is it's web based also. It's right through Athena, and I'll show you that once we roll that out.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, and then I'm sure based on the login, that would show specifically Ralph as the Coachways agent in the drop-down for us, and that's who we would select, correct?
If that's how you did it with if that's how you're doing it now, you're doing it all in Ralph's name, correct?
Well, the agents are actually doing it under their own name in Zeus, but all of the documentation, the emails, are sent to Ralph, as well as copied to Ed and Herman.
Got it.
Sal.
So you see this here? This is how the U.S. Coachways agent. So in here, let's look. Are the agents in here? No, they're not in here. All of the call center agents are not there. So they'd have to be added in here. And they'd have to get logins.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would just pick, whoever the agent is. And then it'll generate the web report as it's currently doing in Zeus. It'll be done the same way. The biggest issue is going to be figuring out how to disposition the ASAPs and the large moves. Which it could be as simple, Tom, as putting ASAP in here,
right?
And large move, right?
Sure, and then just have those go directly to Ralph, and he would just need to know if he sees those two dispositions, he knows that he has to do follow-up.
Correct. Or we could actually even do maybe, I'll figure it out. I'll roll it out to you. Obviously, we're not starting this today. I just want to do a quick training on it, and then I'll take those questions, figure it all out, so we can roll out getting your logins and get working on this sooner rather than later.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So is the intent then to have this completely replace Zeus?
I'm not 100% positive just if that's the intent. At this point, it's a better functioning tool. But I'm not 100% positive if we're doing away totally with Zeus just yet.
Okay. One other question. Aside from quotes, when we have dispatch issues, customer service issues, are those going to be handled through this as well, or would those still be run through Zeus?
So you're currently dispatch issues. How are you currently facilitating that?
Well, it depends on, if it's a trip that's in progress, that there's an issue, the agents will generally try and patch the caller over to the dispatchers.
That's still the route to go. Yeah, that's still going to be the best route.
All right. If it's for a future trip or anything like that, then we generally will take a message and email it out to dispatch team.
Yeah, that let's continue to do as is.
In Zeus?
You're emailing it through Zeus. I'm confused.
Yes, we're sending the email, taking the information in Zeus, dispositioning it as a help me with the disposition on that, guys.
Customer service.
Yeah, it would be the disposition is dispatch, and I can't remember. There's something else that goes with it, but yeah, that's one piece of it. And then actual customer service messages. We also handle through Zeus, and if it's an actual customer service message, it would go to Donna Yahia. If it is sales related, we would try and get the salesperson that the caller spoke with, and have that directed to them. So
every single thing that you're currently doing with Zeus, that's precisely the reason why we're not actually changing Zeus just yet or shutting it down just yet, because these are exactly the reasons why. So if you're doing all of that through Zeus right now, let's continue to do that. And let's quote through these the new PM as a means of quoting until we figure out the new functionality on Athena and this new PM, which is part of Athena, until we figure that all out. So everything should stay as is with Zeus until that functionality becomes available.
Okay.
Alrighty. But as far as understanding how to quote it, I mean, is it relatively simple for everybody?
Yes.
Nothing that's and do you like the idea of having all these step 1, step 2, and everything, and to be able to toggle back through?
Very much.
Yes.
Good. Okay. And Tom, I have all the answers to your questions. I'll have all the answers to your questions. But as it is, we're staying with Zeus until we green light that this is going to be moving forward with Athena. But if we do move forward with Athena, let's just say as early as Tuesday of next week, everything else that we just discussed that can't be done on Athena, just do it through Zeus.
Okay.
All right. So, and I will have answers to those questions though.
Okay, great.
All righty. Any other questions?
No.
Okay. Very good. I'm going to have another, and you have slides too, Tom. I sent you some slides, so if you want to get that out to everybody so they can get more familiar with it.
Okay. Yeah, I will get that distributed right after the call here.
Excellent. All right, guys. I hope this is helpful. Tom, I'll have some information for you as soon as possible. And then if you want to do one more go-through before we go live with it, I'm figuring maybe, hopefully sometime next week we do another round again, and then we go live.
Okay, sounds great.
All right, guys. Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks,
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.